Hey, welcome to the Mindset Recruiting Podcast. I'm Alex Rojas, your talent advisor and host. And in today's episode, I'm going to give you 10 reasons why recruiters are stressed out. Now, the digital age of recruiting has changed and evolved. It's no longer the 90s or the 2000s. Really, for the last decade, there has been a surge of technology, of tools, of apps, of social media that has flooded the marketplace. And so how we prepare to adapt to the modern workforce within talent acquisition means that we have to have a certain level of maturity when it comes to managing our stress levels. That's right. Stress affects our mind, our body, our soul. And I'm a big believer that if those things are in order, that you're spirit-led and spirit-filled, and that brings passion in the work that you do on a day-to-day basis. Now, what affects these stress levels are going to be your ability to adapt and manage your emotional intelligence, your business intelligence, your communication levels, and your thinking and thought patterns. So before we go through these 10 reasons, I'm also going to give you not only the reason, but I'm going to give you solutions behind that so you can start applying them into your day-to-day. So here we go. 10 reasons why recruiters are stressed out. Okay, so reason number one, heavy workload. That's right. Recruiters are overwhelmed. There are too many recs, too many positions to fill, too many applicants to review, too many candidates to screen, too many candidates to schedule for interviews, too many managers breathing down your neck, deadlines. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And that is really a day in the life for most recruiters, right? It's what we've learned to expect. So what's the solution behind that? The solution here, we want to give you some practical application that you can really start thinking, be more mindful on how to apply and how to overcome some of these overwhelming sort of scenarios here. So the ability to prioritize your tasks is highly important. Just like you rank and stack candidates, you want to be able to do the same thing when it comes to your task. Be able to prioritize, making sure that you're setting daily goals. It doesn't have to be an exorbitant amount of goals, but you can start off with 3 goals that you're trying to accomplish for that day. Make them realistic. You also want to make sure that if you have the ability to delegate, to offshore some of your work to maybe some teammates or coworkers, or maybe bringing them in so you can have working sessions, you can be highly effective by organizing yourself that way. Ultimately, time management strategies and being effective in that is going to be a big win for you. And so if you're not blocking off time throughout your day, and you're not having sprints for sourcing, for screening candidates, for time to yourself, then you're going to miss out on those opportunities to be balanced. And then ultimately, you want to look at your process, your workflow, and see where are the inefficiencies and where can you be more productive. And streamlining your processes, automating some of the things that you're doing will help lessen that workload that you're experiencing. So this is reason number one, heavy workload. You can overcome it by really applying some of those solutions. Reason number 2 that recruiters are stressed out is adopting to new technology. That's right. As recruiters, we're being bombarded by all this technology, but the most common practice that recruiters typically struggle is when it comes to adoption is like job board usage. Job board usage is a killer for a lot of recruiters, getting that job board yanked because you didn't have time to source. But there's also just lack of training and development right now with all these tools that are coming out that are available. It's becoming overwhelming, and it takes time to pick up a new tool, new technology, and really dig into that. And what that creates is this, what I call super user syndrome, right? It's almost like, hey, I'll never be a super user. I just don't have the time to invest to learn these new technologies that are coming at me. But you have to stay afloat. You have to try to stay current. And that's what I've been able to do for decades now, staying current with the technology and taking the time to learn some of these things. So what are the solutions behind it? The solutions are identify use cases and apply them to the technology. So if you get a new tool, new technology, go ahead and try to identify, all right, here are 3 or 5 use cases that I can use, and I can start leveraging and applying it into my daily work habits and routine. Another area that you want to look at is, again, taking the time out of your day to watch training videos. A lot of these technology and tool companies, they release things, and if you go to their Learning Academy, they have a plethora of videos for you to watch. Some of them are long, some of them are short. If you don't invest in that time up front, it'll catch you on later. Next thing you know, what I typically see from a lot of recruiters is they're about a year into the tool and they're too embarrassed to ask for help because they should have known how to jump in the water, how to log in, or maybe they haven't even logged in and they don't even know their credentials and they have to go ask and get caught, right? So essentially, take the time to watch the videos and become acclimated, at least get a baseline, a foundation. And then you want to go ahead and absolutely reach out to vendors. I believe the best partnership in applying best adoption practices is really working with the vendors. And so if you can work with them and even prompt them to help you out, to do learning series, to go ahead and have some situations where you guys can work together, that'll be so helpful. But also lean in on your teammates, the super users as well. I know one of the things that I've seen that's been really effective is creating channels within like a team or a Slack, and you build these community of users and you include the vendors and the super users and your teammates that might be novice, intermediate, or advanced level. But when you kind of bring those people together, these users together, you can actually start sharing information, learning best practices, tips, and tricks along the way. This is how you overcome the number 2 reason, adopting to new technology, and why it's stressing out recruiters. Okay, reason number 3, company dysfunction. This is a big one here. Okay, we are so stressed out. Recruiters get stressed out because usually it starts off at the top, right? If there's company dysfunction, that means leadership is a little unstable and there's a lack of socialization, a lack of transparency from leadership anytime those scenarios happen like that. So when you're looking at company dysfunction, unfortunately, you got to look at the whole totality of the organization and see, all right, based on this org chart and the org structure, where is the company falling short? And so it can be just different departments. A big part of it is business development, lack of sales, right? There's not enough business coming in. At the end of the day, companies need revenue. When revenue comes in, everybody's in good spirits, right? And if not, then there's a morale issue. There's a turnover issue. If coworkers and colleagues are coming in like a revolving door, that does affect you overall as well. That adds to the stress levels. And so, working within these other departments like accounting, human resources, anybody that's a C-level executive, those are going to bring some levels of stress when it comes to company dysfunction. So what's the solution behind it? The solution is you have to identify an inner circle of influencers, people that you can count on, people that are your confidants that you can go to and perhaps influence change, perhaps influence and make suggestions and recommendations to gather more information to determine, hey, is this a company that's going to right its ship the correct way, or is this a sinking ship that I'm on? The other area that you can really kind of focus in on is focus on what matters the most. It's about hiring. And hiring always starts off with being proactive in how you pipeline your talent. The candidates that you're going after, the candidates that you need to hire, get back to the basics and go ahead and develop those pipelines. But ultimately, I think the biggest factor here, anytime you're dealing with company dysfunction, is go ahead and identify the stakeholders that you can partner up with. If you can develop some good partnerships with some stakeholders there, you can overcome, these stress levels when it comes to company dysfunction. Reason number 4, job market uncertainty. This can happen internally and externally. And so the law of supply and demand impacts us as recruiters. We are the first ones. Talent acquisition is the first one to get affected anytime the market conditions change. We saw this pre-pandemic. Everything was great. Recruiters had jobs, assignments. Pandemic comes. Everybody's scrambling. Post-pandemic, hiring frenzy happens. Then the high-tech layoffs happen. Everybody's scrambling again. And right now it's like zombie land out there. I mean, everybody's fighting for opportunities because there's an influx of recruiters that have come into the marketplace. The supply is heavy. A lot of times we get stressed out as well as we may not think that we're good enough at the job that we've been hired to do. And maybe it's just too challenging, too complex, expectations are too high, and you're not going to be able to meet those demands. Another reason is you might be really good at what you do and you need more money, and the market's not paying you the money that you think your market value is at. These are reasons to cause any recruiter some stress levels. So how do you overcome this? I'm a big believer in networking. That's right. If you're not networking, get out there, network. You'd be surprised how many recruiters are not updating their resume, their LinkedIn profile. They don't even go on LinkedIn. They're maybe on there once a week, once every couple of weeks. They're not very active. Stay on LinkedIn. It's one of the most powerful resources that are out there, but tweak it. Update your profile picture, for crying out loud, right? Develop a brand for your reputation. Stay connected with colleagues, former colleagues. Go ahead and make some posts, make some comments, engage, take the time to go ahead and have interaction in a social media environment to get your reputation out there. And then finally, the other solution is go ahead and just pulse out what kind of opportunities are out there. If you have an opportunity to interview, go ahead and do that. That will help you overcome some of the stress when it comes to job market uncertainty. Reason number 5, challenges within your talent acquisition team. That's right. So you are in a situation where you are part of a team, part of a recruiting team, talent acquisition team, and your team is lacking maturity when it comes to processes, procedures, maybe the systems, the tools that you have are not available, the things that you need to do to be effective at your job. Maybe the recruiting team has a reputation for being a scapegoat for hiring, not hiring the best talent. Right? These are things that come and play a part of affecting the team dynamics within talent acquisition. A lot of times within your team environment, there's a lot of unprofessionalism maybe happening. Maybe there's some teammates. Have you ever heard of this? Drama teammates that are filled with a lot of drama. So there's drama queens, there's drama kings. There's a lot of gossiping that goes on sometimes within teams, empire building. These are very toxic situations that create a lot of challenges, really induces, the challenges within any kind of team organization or structure. And then there's always the one where there's just a lack of motivation. And we're seeing a lot of this. There's generations that are coming into the workforce. And I had an episode on this about how Gen X rules, but Generation X, Y, and Z, they all work differently. And so sometimes that synergy is thrown off because of the dynamics within those character traits as well. But what are the solutions behind it? The solutions are that you can do a survey to assess what is working within the team, the tools, what you like, what you don't like. Take a lead and go ahead and just do a pulse check on that. You can also do team building exercises. They can be short ones. They can be 1 hour, 2 hour sessions. They can be off-site. They can be video, virtual, but go ahead and start creating more regular team building experiences, whether it's on a small scale, it can be just a few recruiters, or it can be on a large scale where you're dealing with hundreds of recruiters, but take the time to plan for that. And then ultimately, anytime you're kind of experiencing some challenges within your internal team structure, it's just about really carefrontation. And carefrontation is a word that I picked up. It was a culture word experience that a lot of recruiters picked up if you were part of Aerotech or tech systems. That's right. Carefrontation means that you're not going to go behind anybody's back and gossip or do empire building. You're actually going to go up and address the situation in a very professional manner and clear the wave. That's highly important. It's something that we should be taught as kids. Unfortunately, it carries on into our professional careers, and a lot of recruiters are just not really accustomed or not comfortable. It creates a lot of stress, but you have to get good at this. You have to get good at calling out people, teammates in a very professional way. If you can do that, you can overcome team challenges that are happening within talent acquisition. Okay, so we made it halfway through the 10 reasons why recruiters are stressed out. And the first 5, they were great. I want to make sure that you're going to go ahead and reflect and be able to apply some of the solutions that we laid out for you. Now, we're going to take a pause here, and I want to ask you to tune in to the second part of this episode. We're going to go over the next 5. Those are going to be just as important as the first 5. So make sure that you tune in on the next episode. Be sure to like this episode. And if you're enjoying the content that I'm sharing with you, be sure to subscribe to this channel. It helps us grow. Until next time, remember, it's all about the mindset.